Hi, I'm Lau Wing San. Today is 24th of March 2017. Today I'm going to discuss on an issues that maybe a lot of us may be very familiar with, but there's this latest development on news report from Sinju Daily, which I would like to quote here. Basically, it's actually an exclusive report uh, quoted by Sinju Daily from some of the internal sources or insider news that they have access to. That is, the government, basically UMNO, has come up with a draft to amend the 1965 Sharia Court Criminal Jurisdictions Act, which is also called as Act 355. And this proposal has yet to be agreed upon by some non-UMNO cabinet minister, but it is meant to replace the private member bills motions tabled by Dato Sri Hadi Awang. And I think one of the very important feature of this amendment, proposed amendment from UMNO, is to say that the amended Act 355 will only be applied in Peninsular Malaysia, and that Sabah and Sarawak will be excluded from the implementations of this act after it is amended. The reason for this is to suppress the uneasiness among the non-Muslims from Sabah and Sarawak. So basically, you have a law, you already have an Act 355 that governs the criminal jurisdictions of Sharia courts in Malaysia. It's now going to be amended probably in terms of its limitations, in terms of the limits to the penalty that a Sharia court can sentence. So the increased sentencing will not be applied in Sabah and Sarawak. Do you think this is a good law or this is a bad law? My personal opinion, and this is my very subjective opinion. The moment I look at this, I think this is not appropriate, and this could be even worse than the amendment to be tabled by Dato Sri Hadi Awang. Why I say that? Now, Malaysia is in a very difficult situations. We already have segregation, some kinds of segregations between Bumiputra and non-Bumiputra. We already have a certain level of segregations in terms of implementation of certain laws between Peninsular Malaysia and Sabah and Sarawak. We also have divisions between the Muslim and non-Muslim subsequently, and now we are talking about even further dividing the Muslim into Muslim from West Malaysia and Muslim from Sabah and Sarawak. Because this act, if this amendment proposed by UMNO is to be approved in the House, Muslim from East Malaysia, from Sabah and Sarawak, will not be subjected to the increased punishments by the Sharia court, whereas the Muslim from Peninsular Malaysia will be subjected to the increased punishments. Now, questions comes: what if you have a Sabah or Sarawakian Muslims residing in Peninsular Malaysia and is charged in the Sharia court for certain criminal offenses? What if we have a Muslim from Peninsular Malaysia residing in Sabah or Sarawak, charged also in a Sharia court in Sabah or Sarawak for criminal offenses? So you will immediately see that there will definitely be some dissimilarity between the two laws in Sabah Sarawak and also in Peninsular Malaysia, and this will create probably not only problem but quite definite injustices in terms of the implementations of criminal Islamic law on Muslims. Now, if we say Islamic law is universal, this amendment to be proposed by UMNO may be not only unconstitutional, but also un-Islamic, because it is supposed to be universal. It is not supposed to even segregate between Muslim from West Malaysia and Muslim from East Malaysia. And if you have this kind of segregations, then there will be injustices, and it may also violate Article 8 of the Federal Constitutions. And most importantly, we must also study a little bit of examples and histories of development of Islamic family law. Islamic family laws originally in Malaysia and Malaya, different states had different versions. And it was actually in the 1980s when, with the formations of JAKIM, I think, that some of these states Islamic family law, will synchronize and similarized in order to prevent people from abusing these differences or these loopholes to run away from their legal obligations as enshrined by the Islamic family law. For example, there could be recognitions of wedding ceremony. Some states will have certain conditions. Some other states may not have that kind of conditions. So when you come to a court of law, a court of Islamic family law, which law do you apply? If a wedding is solemnized in a state, will these solemnizations of wedding in that state be recognized in other states? If the law concerning the solemnizations of wedding are different between these two states. So this was the reason why Islamic family laws in Malaysia, among all the 14 or 13 states, including 14 states, including Federal Territories of Kuala Lumpur, are synchronized so that people will not use the differences as a loophole to run away from their legal obligations. This is the reason why you need to have a uniform law among all the states in Malaysia. And now UMNO is coming up with these proposed amendments to amend the Sharia Courts Criminal Jurisdictions Act, which is Act 355, and they're going to say that Muslims from East Malaysia will not be affected. Of course, maybe for Muslims from East Malaysia, there may be a bit relief after knowing this, and maybe BN component parties from Sabah and Sarawak may not be bothered about what is happening in the peninsula, as long as Sabah and Sarawak are not affected. But they must not forget, and especially MCA, MIC, and Karakan must not forget that the questions that I raised just now is very real. Not only one questions, but many questions. These questions are real questions. It will further segregate our country. It will further divide our country. It is doing no good to our national unity. We are already having problem between the Bumiputera and non-Bumiputera issues. Now you are talking about even among the Muslims, you're going to further divide them into two. I don't think it is going to help us. So I believe this amendment from UMNO ought to be rejected. And I hope the BN cabinet minister from MC and MIC and also Gerakan must stand strong on this. In fact, they have a lot of questions to answer. And this question I already asked in my previous statements. They have to answer why they are not going to resign if Hadi's motions is to be given governmental priority in the House. They have to answer why they are not going to resign when the cabinet, if the federal government is going to take over the bill from Hadi Awang. Because the best way to kill Hadi Awang's bill is via, number one, not to give it a governmental priority, number two, not to allow the federal government from taking over these motions from Hadi Awang. These are the two best ways to kill his bill. But if these two are not happening, then MCA, MIC, Gerakan, and BN component members from Sabah and Sarawak must answer why they are not objecting against this proposal from UMNO. So this is my personal view on this exclusive report from Sinchu Daily. I'm not sure whether it's true or not because they are quoting this. They are quoting this from some insider source or insider informations. We will have to see what will happen next. But if this is true, then there will be a lot of questions, and I think the questions that I asked just now are valid questions. I hope if you agree with me, maybe you can share my video to your friends, and we see what happened in the next few days or next week. Thank you.